This is the reason why I stopped drinking Kool-Aid.
Here we go! Yeah, here we go! Wait, take
Cowboys. Throws back of the end zone. There's
What's up, everybody? Hey, Cowboy C3 here. That was pretty rough. 44-19 is the final score. It was over from the kickoff. It really was. I just don't understand how you make adjustments against a team that was clear, that was better than the team that you played this week last year. Pretty much the same team. And then you come into this week and you just look absolutely lost. That's absolutely correct, Sports T. Cowboys cheeks got clapped. 44-19, Derek Carr goes 11 of 16 for 243 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Had the interception towards the end of the game. Alvin Kamara, 20 carries, 115 yards, 3 touchdowns, averaged 5.8 yards per carry. Rashid Shaheed, 4 catches, 96 yards, and a touchdown. He did get 70 yards of that on 1 catch. Chris Olave had 4 catches for 81 yards, and Alvin Kamara had 2 catches for 65 yards and a touchdown. Dak goes 27 of 39 for 293, a touchdown, 2 picks. Rico Dowdle leading rushers, 7 carries for 30 yards. Zeke had 6 carries for 16 yards. CD had 4 catches for 90 yards and a touchdown. Jalen Tolbert and Luke Schoonmaker both had 6 catches. Tolbert went for 82 yards, and Schoonmaker went for 43 yards. Schoonmaker quietly played a good game. On the defense, Eric Kendricks led all tacklers for the Cowboys with 8 tackles. Damone Clark had 6 tackles. Donovan Wilson had 5 tackles, and he also had an interception. And both corners, Kaysen and Diggs, both had 4 tackles. We'll talk about that in just a second, why they had so many tackles as well. For the Saints, Alontae Taylor had 8 tackles. Paulson Adebo had 4 tackles and an interception, and Tyrann Mathieu had 3 tackles and an interception. Team stats, Saints go for 432 yards, 242 passing, 190 rushing, 7.7 yards per play, 24 first downs, 5 of 8 on third down efficiency, and a time of possession for 30 minutes and 31 seconds. Cowboys go for 353 total yards, 285 through the air, only 68 yards rushing, 20 first downs, 6 of 13 on third down, 1 of 3 on fourth down, 2 turnovers, and 29-29 in time of possession. Alvin Kamara started the scoring off with a 5-yard run in the first quarter, made it 7-0. Cowboys came back and answered, had a good drive, kind of stalled at the end, 52-yard run. Actually stalled because of a penalty. Tyler Guyton got called for a holding penalty on Chase Young. That was a little bit questionable. He did cross his arm across his chest, though. He did put his arm across his chest. Technically, that's a hold, right? 52-yard kick for Brandon Aubrey made the score 7-3. 9 seconds later, Rashid Shaheed, 70-yard pass. Derek Carr threw a damn dime to Rashid Shaheed. He beats Donovan Wilson. Told y'all in the pregame, right? Donovan Wilson can be a liability in coverage. Proved to be the case then. Made the score 14-3. Cowboys drive the ball back down the field. Looked pretty good. Drive stalled short again. Brandon Aubrey field goal made it 14-6. Schoonmaker was great coming on crossing routes, but that's where you miss Ferguson going vertical. He gives you that opportunity. They missed him today. I still would have sent Schoonmaker vertical. I don't know why they didn't do it, but they didn't. Made the score 14-6 on the 30-yard field goal. Next possession, third down, 6 yards to go. Screen pass to Alvin Kamara goes for 57 yards for a touchdown. Scores 21-6. Cowboys answer back. CD Lamb's in double coverage. Dak kind of rolls, throws the ball over to the right. to the right sideline. CeeDee Lamb catches the ball, ducks under both defenders, takes the ball 65 yards down the sideline for a touchdown, makes the score 21-13. Not feeling bad about this now. 21-13. We can deal with 21-13. Kamara comes right back. Saints just drive the ball down the field. Great third down efficiency. All of their third downs were 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. Kept the yard to gain short on third downs. 12-yard run by Kamara caps off a drive, caps off a 70-yard, 12-play. I think the drive took 8 minutes. Caps it off with a 12-yard run. Excuse me. Make the score 28-13. On the following possession, Dak throws an intermediate pass to Jalen Brooks. Don't really know what happened. Jalen Brooks falls down. Pass is intercepted by Debo. Debo picks it off. Saints drive the ball down the field, running the ball. Taysom Hill, Alvin Kamara mix. Derek Carr scores on a 1-yard touchdown run, makes the score 35-13. Cowboys execute the 2-minute drill to perfection to get in field goal range right at the end of the half. 48-yard field goal by Brandon Aubrey, 35-16. In the third quarter, Cowboys drive the ball down the field. They're moving the ball pretty consistent. Dak wasn't really under a lot of pressure, even though he got sacked, I think, 3 times. He wasn't under a lot of pressure. Line held up pretty good. It's just by this time the Saints are dropping back into a prevent defense, right? They're just making the holes smaller and smaller for Dak to try to throw into. Come out with a 40-yard touchdown, with a 40-yard field goal, make the score 35-19. Saints come down the field with another 13-play drive. Took about 7-8 minutes off the clock. They do it again, capped off by another Alvin Kamara 7-yard run, make the score 41-19. Saints end the scoring. Cowboys went for it, I think, on a 4th and 9 from their own 15-yard line. They don't get that. Blake Group kicks a 26-yard field goal in the scoring for the game, 44-19. Dak threw another interception right before the field goal on about a 15, 20-yard pass. He tried to squeeze it in to CeeDee Lamb, but Tyrann Mathieu was just kind of playing, just watching Dak's eyes kind of drifted over. By that time, you're just pressing, and that's what I've always said about Dak. Dak will always, when games get like this, Dak tries to throw 14 and 21-point touchdowns, and you just can't do that. You can't do it. Costly mistake. Didn't really matter at that point, but still, interception is going on your stats. Give something for people to talk about. This is an interesting stat. In the last 2 home games the Dallas Cowboys have played in, they have given up 92 points. 92 points. Saints put some Cowboy spit right where the sun don't shine, went to work. Yes, they absolutely did, man down. A lot of good teams did go down in flames today. And that's one positive that comes out of this. Saints kind of move up in that little power ranking, if you will, going 2-0. I believe the 49ers lost. Lions lost. Green Bay actually won. They looked pretty decent with what's the quarterback's name from Tennessee? Anyway, the backup quarterback from Tennessee, Willis. He looked decent, but I think they ran the ball for like almost 200 yards. Looks pretty good in their win. But the Cowboys did not look good today at all. Malik Willis, that's his name. Malik Willis played well, got him a win. You're right, Derek. Same old boys. What was the problem today? The same old thing. Can't stop the run. It's I don't know what it is. You figure you got the scheme. Zimmer always has a pretty solid defense, but they go through games where they have games like this. If you remember when the Cowboys used to play Minnesota, when Zimmer was the head coach of Minnesota, they used to shred them, and they shred them running and passing the ball. They get into this weird alignment where they have their defensive ends playing out, especially when you try to break the perimeter on them. They widen their defensive ends. The 2 defensive tackles are just kind of stuck in the middle. It gives a natural hole to the tackles, right? once you adjust to that and bring your defensive ends inside, and don't get me wrong, Kubiak came from the offensive coordinator for the Saints. He came from that Kyle Shanahan coaching tree. He brought that same offense to New Orleans. Alvin Kamara is perfect for that offense. They're going to be dangerous. It's been you're right, Chris. It has been a problem longer than a spell. The Cowboys just have an inept disability, right, in stopping the run. And whenever they play teams like this is what happens. If you have a team that comes into Dallas or wherever, if Dallas goes to them and they are a run first team, they are going to pose problems for the Cowboys. Cowboys are not physical at the line of scrimmage. Saw the defensive tackles today, all of them. Jordan Phillips, Mozzie Smith, all of them. Mozzie Smith getting up holding his back because he got bent over backwards. Just all kinds of things happening in the trenches. Eric Kendricks kind of getting washed out. Overshown. You want to negate the speed of Overshown. You want to negate the speed of Micah Parsons. Run right at their ass. That's what you do. Marinelli could stop the run. He just couldn't stop the pass. Maybe they should bring Marinelli back and make him the run stopping coordinator. Do that, and then you have Zimmer as the pass stopping coordinator. I don't know what to do. Derek, I don't know if our run scheme sucks so much as our running backs suck. You don't have a threat. Deuce Vaughn got a lot of opportunities today to run the football, but it is a foregone conclusion that he might just be too small to do this. Rico ran the ball pretty efficiently. It wasn't too bad. Cowboys don't do the same things that other teams do. You saw today, you saw a lot of traps. You saw a lot of pulling linemen. You saw a lot of things. Cowboys just run a zone running scheme, and they're not the running backs aren't patient. They just kind of fly into the hole. It seems like they're running into the back of their offensive lineman a lot. There was on one play where Deuce got the ball. A hole kind of opened up on the outside, but he's just running right behind Zach Martin, just laying on his back. Zach Martin got banged up in the fourth quarter. He was down, went into the tent. He came back out. He seemed to be fine. CeeDee Lamb took a shot in the end zone. He went out for one play. It was just an all-around ugly game. Sports T said the same old overrated, overpaid, overhyped Cowboys. I told you, Sports T, on our other podcast, I don't drink that Kool-Aid. I don't drink it. I told you, I will not rank the Cowboys until January. It won't be any power rankings. It won't be any of that. Not for me, because things like this happen. This is the same. It looked like the Green Bay game last year, but if you think back into the previous season, I know Cowboy fans will remember this, right? When they play Arizona, same thing. Just go in and just be physical with them. Just put your head in their chest and just drive them into the ground. And that's how it was today. Cowboys are always treated like superstars, and all of that comes from their upper chain of command. Jerry's a superstar. He's going to continue to be a superstar. He's always going to be a superstar, win or lose. No matter what happened today, right? Jerry got a $12 billion team. Jerry sold out the stadium. Jerry got everything done. These schemes that the Cowboys are running, especially the defensive scheme, maybe it's old, maybe it's over, maybe it's outplayed. I don't think so. I just think that if you and it really, like, it doesn't make sense. Well, Cleveland had both of their starting tackles were out. Maybe the game would have been a little bit different if they had their starting tackles. But this week, Saints were on full bore. They came in and just put it on the Cowboys pretty bad. Washed up D linemen haven't shown up either. No, they haven't. Both of your defensive ends, Linville and Jordan Phillips, both are 33 and 35 years old, respectively. I think with Zimmer's defensive scheme, I think your job is just to hold the line, clog up the middle. They didn't do a good job of that. I saw Jordan Phillips on one play 8 yards down the field and end up flat on his stomach because just the center just took him and just drove his ass out of the play. That's not good. Not good at all. And it doesn't get any better next week. It's not. I appreciate that. Thank you, Sports T. You're right, man. It always seems like in the leader of the defense is Micah Parsons, and they show him on the screen all the time. He's over talking to the defensive coordinator. He seems dejected. He's standing over with his hands behind his back by himself, looking up at the screen. He looks dejected. Coming off the sideline, just got his head, just shaking his head, talking to other players. You know, it's nothing positive coming out of his mouth. He looks dejected. They need somebody to spark a fire in their ass, and Micah Parsons is the one to do it. He is the defensive leader. He's the guy that's supposed to get the big contract next. He's the guy that everybody on every sports channel everywhere says it is one of the best defensive players in the league. But every time we get into a game like this where it's physical, it's hard-nosed, we're going to run at your ass, and we're going to try to knock the snot out of you. This is the type of game he disappears in every single time. Every time. Blame for Dak. The offense didn't look bad, but what it is you have to score touchdowns. Dak gets fixated on CeeDee Lamb, and if they take CeeDee Lamb away, and this is why I was happy, not happy, but I was happy for the opportunity for Dak to get accustomed to using his other receivers while CeeDee Lamb was holding out in training camp. I was excited for that because I thought that they would build some kind of chemistry. Now Dak has to put that chemistry into play in games. Damn practice, training camp is over with, right? Spread the ball around. I know he tried to get Jalen Brooks the ball on the slant that ended up being an interception. Jalen Brooks just fell down. That shit happens. You know, you sometimes you fall down and bad things happen, right? But on the next drive, he went right back to him, which was a positive, right? Brandon Cooks only had 2 catches. Again, he needs to be incorporated. I do not know why they don't use Kevontae Turpin. I don't know why. Kevontae Turpin is probably your fastest receiver you got on your, even if you don't throw the ball to him, put him in the slot, let him fly up the field and get them safeties the hell out the way and just open up the middle of the field. It just seems like elementary shit that they don't do. And this is what I'm talking about. When you have a scheme, when you play a team against a scheme, this is the same stuff San Francisco does, where you got pulling centers and guards and they'll pull one way and the run will go the other way. And it's confusing, right? He bought the same stuff to New Orleans, and they're doing the same things. It's games like this that it just gets confusing for him, and I don't know why. It's game film. You watch them play. I watched them play Carolina last week. I watched a bunch of film on them this week. Just watch play. Same shit. They did the same thing today. Run play action passes, coming off the ball. After running the ball 4 or 5 times, run a play action pass and try to use their speedy receivers. My keys to victory yesterday were stop the Swiss Army knife. So stop Alvin Kamara. Stop Taysom Hill. They didn't do that. Keep the speed in front of you. They damn sure didn't do that. And make Derek Carr uncomfortable. Derek Carr was standing back there like a statue. They had 25 pass pressures last week against Cleveland. This week they had 4. And it's because they're off balance. They so scared of Alvin Kamara on the run, right? That they're sitting still. And by the time in the one play, the one time that did get pressure, Parsons comes off the end, causes pressure. Derek Carr just threw the ball into the ground. That's Derek Carr. If you put pressure on him now, kudos to the Saints for coming up with an excellent game plan. Kubiak's he's going to be an excellent offensive coordinator. It's obviously not a fluke. They done put up 40-plus points in 2 weeks. And I said in the pregame, they won't put up 40 against the Cowboys. That's crazy. They did that to Carolina. Bullshit. They came in here and did the same thing. It's obviously something that they're doing right. It's got to be, right? They're going to be a dangerous football team. They got an offensive game plan, and they play bully ball on defense. I like it. I think it's pretty cool, right? Kool-Aid McKinstry held up. Safety help was over the top of CeeDee Lamb. I told you it would be things open underneath that Dak would take advantage of, and he did. Schoonmaker came in and showed you a little bit why he was a second-round draft pick. Made an excellent one-hand catch on the sideline, turned it upfield, looked good, right? Give him an opportunity. Give him an opportunity to go up in the crease too. If you run those receivers deep, man, if you run Turpin deep on one side and take that safety out of the way and just run your tight end on a post, that area of the field is wide open because the other safety has to respect the receiver on the other side. You just put Brandon Cooks on the other side and let him do something deep and make that safety just go over there. You can open this up. This is what I talk about, the difference between playing checkers and chess. You see stuff like this. McCarthy is not a chess player. He's a checker player. When everything is going right, he'll move all his pieces around. But when you have to play chess, when you're like, okay, this is kind of confusing, we need to do something, right? He can't do it. He can't do it. Another thing, CeeDee Lamb, I believe CeeDee Lamb is the only wide receiver that the Cowboys have that can get separation. It just seems like that. Tolbert did a pretty good job. He caught a contested deep ball with one hand. That was a great catch. I was really happy for him. And I've been saying that for the last week or two. He needs to get involved. Third round pick. This is his third year. It's time to go, right? They need a solid 2 receiver so you can move Brandon Cooks in the slot. And then he can do some things with his speed. But right now, Cooks is playing the other outside, but I just don't understand why they just won't put Turpin in the slot. They ran him on a couple plays. He took a couple big hits, you know what I mean? But these are plays that we're talking about 5, 7, 8 yards, within the line of scrimmage where he's running around with linebackers and stuff like that. He's too little for that, man. Just stretch the field. Just go. Just go. And I just don't understand why they do that. Mike McCarthy does have to go. He should have been gone, right? He should have been gone. But listen, this playbook has been the same. And I talked about this, I think, in the very first episode that I did. This playbook has been the same since 2014. You don't see no new shit. You don't see anything creative. Once Bill Callahan left the Cowboys in 2014, the offensive line has been see the man in front of you, block him, try to make a little hole so somebody can run through it. Zeke was pretty good at it because they run that same kind of running scheme at Ohio State, but then he got old, right? Not old in age, but old in running back age, right? He took a lot of carries, took a lot of hits. He just got old, right? No, Derek, coordinators aren't good. Offensive coordinator, his dad was a pretty good coach. I don't know. Schottenheimer, Marty was a good coach in San Diego when they had Drew Brees, and then brought in Phillip Rivers and had that team. He was a good coach then. He couldn't win, couldn't beat Indianapolis, but it don't mean his son is a good coordinator. And then Zimmer is, I'm not gonna say he's a bad defensive coordinator, but whenever you get physical, and I don't know if it's the type of players that the Cowboys had or what. There's a couple players that were out there and they were banging. Overshown was trying to bang. Lufau was out there. He's running around like a madman. He was making some plays in the run game out by more like some Jalen Smith type of plays, 7, 8 yards down the field. But he was trying to fight through blocks and make plays. They just, whenever you get in these games where you have to make these adjustments to stop things, like they can't do it. They cannot do it. Micah Parsons. I just touched on that briefly, but I can touch on it again. Whenever you play in games like this is when Micah Parsons disappears. These are the games where you need him to scrape down, even if he's running plays from behind. You see Bosa doing this in San Francisco. You see TJ Watt doing it. You want to run away from me? I'll run that shit down from behind and I'll make tackles. Micah Parsons get caught up in the wash every time. And then on these toss plays, they just pulling a lineman and going and hitting him head on. He is not even trying to get outside the lineman. He's just going head up with the lineman. I don't even know what you're doing. You take an outside shade. You try to cut that running back in the middle because these linebackers are scraping. Don't let him have the edge. Even if they outflanking you, and they constantly outflanking you. That's a defensive scheme issue, right? But Micah Parsons is supposed to be this ultra athlete that can come in and break that shit up, and he never does it. He doesn't do it. I don't know what else to say. Wow. Shannon Sharp. All right. Yeah. I mean, and there was a lot of running lanes for him too. I mean, a whole lot. And there was times on, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5 where they're running, in this old high school 28 toss and just run out, get outside of the defense, get outside of the outside linebacker. Outside linebacker for some reason is playing an inside shade, right? Tackle's doing nothing but coming in and hook blocking him, right? And it's just a perfect running lane. And Kamara and Taysom Hill, it was a couple of times where they got the first down. Shit, they just jogging out of bounds on a toss sweep. This is the NFL. Yeah, that shit is funny. There are a bunch of delusional Cowboy fans. And I like Caitlin Clark fans. I agree 100%. If you go, I'm a member of probably 7 or 8 Cowboy pages on Facebook, and I'll go in and just drop simple facts, right? And it'll just cause an uproar. Like today, somebody was like, Dak Prescott is just money wasted. So I just asked a simple question. You don't have anything to say about the defense? Same question I asked last year in Green Bay. You don't have shit to say about the defense. Dak is the reason that they ain't stopping the damn run. Yeah, 16 points in the first half, right? If you double that, that's 32 points in the game. Like if you had the same first half as you did in the second half, you're on track to score 32 points in a football game, right? But you losing because your defense can't stop anything. Can't stop a snotty nose. Can't do it. Just can't do it. And they play games like this in games where you think like, okay, there's no way that the Saints are going to come in here and beat us. There's no way that the Cowboys are going to go to Arizona and let sorry-ass Arizona and James Conner just run the ball down their damn throat. And that's exactly what happens. And every year they play a game like this, like they did today, right? Even though I think the Saints are going to end up being pretty good. Every time they play a game like this, it's always a big opponent that they play the next week. Last year, it was San Francisco. Had to play them the next week. This year, they got Baltimore coming to town. If you cannot stop Alvin Kamara, what the hell make you think you're going to stop Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson? You better figure that shit out quick. I'm not Cowboy fans, you know, and we talked about this on the other podcast last night. I said that there were 3 groups of people, and I forgot to mention the fourth. And the fourth is one that I'm a member of, is Cowboy fans. Delusional as hell. Delusional as hell. Let's blame this loss on one person. Let's just blame everything on Dak Prescott. Did Dak Prescott have a great game? Hell no, he didn't have a great game. But the Saints made the Cowboys one-dimensional. They made him one-dimensional. And to be honest with you, with that running back room, they kind of one-dimensional anyway. I'm not saying that Dak is not doing the bend. I'm saying Dak is not doing his Dak is having a hard time doing his job. And he don't make it better when he throw bonehead ass interceptions either. The first one, I'm not gonna blame it on him. The second one, you have to see Tyrann Mathieu back there watching you. You have to. I know you want to get the ball to CD. I know you do. But sometimes you got to either hit somebody else or you got to throw it away. What's his blame percentage today? Probably 20%. 80% of that shit going to defense. It has to. 430. What was it? $436 total yards. The defense, 432 total yards, 242 passing, 190 rushing, and 196 yards passing came off the play action because you're afraid of the run. Who else can you blame it on? You can't put all the blame on Dak. Sure, Dak didn't play a great game. Absolutely not. But the defense played shitty from the very beginning. The same thing that happened in Green Bay. The same thing that happened in Buffalo last year. The same thing that happened in Arizona. Same shit. Nothing's changed. Defense, different defensive coordinator, same result. Same result. It's just there are things that happen with the Cowboys that can be prevented. There are games where your quarterback is not going to come out and pay and throw the ball for 450 yards and 35 touchdowns. He's not going to do that every game, right? And 35 touchdowns kind of a lot. But let's just say 5, right? Not going to do that, right? There's going to be some games where he's going to get you a pedestrian 238 yards passing and a touchdown. This is why it's the ultimate team sport. Your defense got to pick it up, right? But if your defense is flat, right? And the offense is just scoring at will, then their defense is just going to drop back into a prevent, right? And they just going to drop 7, 8 people in the coverage and make the window smaller for you to through. They didn't even have to get pressure today. Not really. Cowboys don't have an offense this year to sustain shootouts. They don't have that. You got one great wide receiver, right? You got a good tight end, and you got a good quarterback with no running game, 2 rookies on the offensive line, and your best receiver other than CeeDee Lamb is probably Brandon Cooks. You ain't getting those shootouts. It's just not going to happen, right? So you have to play solid defense. You have to run the ball. You have to keep teams off balance, right? And the Cowboys, for the most part, especially in the first half, they attempted to do that. The problem is that the Saints were just running ramshot. They were doing whatever the hell they wanted to do. So I don't really know what the deal is. I don't. There has to be some adjustments made. I'm not ready to say that Zimmer was the wrong hire because, I mean, he's 1-1. I mean, he had a great game last week, had a shitty game this week. We'll see. Time will tell. You gonna tell here in about 6 days. 6 days. Baltimore gonna come in here. They gonna see, hey, they just got their ass whooped. Even though Baltimore did kind of struggle with the Raiders today, but they turned it around like in the fourth quarter. But they had some struggling moments. Cowboys have been notoriously bad against mobile quarterbacks. You got the mobile quarterback of all mobile quarterbacks coming in here. They have a problem stopping the run. You got the damn superhero of running backs coming in here next week. They have 2 good tight ends, and Andrews and Likely, and they got some speedy wide receivers. And they play mean defense, just like New Orleans, and they're better than New Orleans on defense. So this shit don't get easier. It don't. This was a game that you had to win. This was the game you needed to go in. You needed to go into the game with Baltimore 2-0. So just in case you do lose, right, you're 2-1, right? Now you lose, you 1-2. You're in the 3rd game of the season, and you got a must-win game against Baltimore. No, not the type of shit that you want to get yourself into at all. Man down, we will open up the phone lines next week. We're not quite ready for that. We're going to make a lot of changes to the show next week. We're going to clean up some of this stuff behind me. You see my flag falling. It's okay. It's about to come down anyway. We got some new things that will be appeasing to the eye. We'll kind of change the scenery in here a little bit, and I think it'll be a little bit better. At least I hope it is. The Cowboys do have to be able to stop the run and keep pressure on the quarterback. Dak and CD can do the rest. And I absolutely agree with you 100%, man down. But the thing about it is that they can't stop the run. If they can't stop the run, they adjust to the run so they don't put pressure on the quarterback. And then that puts Dak and CD in a bind. And then the results are what you get today. That's the whole issue. It's been the issue for the Cowboys for 30 years. This is a good football team. This is not a great football team. I think this football team defensively should be better. On paper, it's better than it was last year, right? You've got some linebackers that can play. Your defensive line is still an issue. You didn't really draft to that. On offense, I don't think they are. They're not as good as they were last year. They're not. You have no running game. You don't have running backs, right? You let your running back go to Tennessee, and he's literally a one-man offense in Tennessee. He can carry the Tennessee Titans. Why couldn't he carry the Dallas Cowboys? You didn't give him an opportunity to. Sure, he came off a broken leg last year. It was going to be a slow process anyway. He still was out there. He ran the ball. He still rushed for 1,000 yards last year. I think he rushed for 1,001 yards. But he was a 1,000-yard running back, and you let him go to Tennessee for less money than you paid for him with the franchise tag that year. I think he went to Tennessee for $6 million, right? And I think the Cowboys paid him $12 million with the franchise tag because running back contracts last year were pretty big, right? You let him go. Didn't think that Pollard could handle the load, and that's crazy. Now you got Rico back there. Rico's a decent running back, but today he was getting up a little gimpy. Deuce showed flashes. Zeke showed some flashes, right? But they're not just stablemate running backs. They're not. Zeke is not that anymore. And then the answer to that equation was, at least in the Cowboy franchise's eyes, right, was we'll bring in Dalvin Cook and we'll put him on the practice squad till he can learn the playbook, and then he'll come on the roster. Deuce is gonna go to the practice squad. That's a guarantee. Deuce is going. Even though I feel like it should be Zeke, but Zeke ain't going to the practice squad. That's not going to happen. I do not understand why you don't line up Deuce Vaughn in the backfield. If you're having problems getting him up the middle, why you just don't throw him a screen pass? Why you don't throw him, just a flare on the outside? Just get him to where he can get into the secondary where he's very dangerous. If you keep him running in there with 300-pound defensive linemen and 250-pound linebackers, he's not going to win that battle. He's just not. He got outside one time, got into the secondary on about a 7 or 8 yard run, and wreaked a little havoc back there. Put his head down, drove somebody out of bounds. He looked good doing it. But you have to get him in space. You have to create space for him, right? But that's that chess shit that I'm talking about, and we just don't do that. We haven't done that since Jimmy. That's just the honest to God truth. I don't know how else. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. We were talking about this Friday night on Man Down on the podcast, Man Down Sports. You guys need to go join Man Down Sports. If you're not a member of it already, great show, fantastic dude. Mel does an excellent job over there. We talked about drinking the Kool-Aid, right? I'm not drinking that Kool-Aid. And, all this Super Bowl talk, Cowboys moving up 6 spots to the number 4 ranked team in the NFL. I don't give a damn about that. It's September. That shit shuffles all the time. They should go from 5 to 30 after this game. They should. They definitely should. They're not, though. They'll drop down to maybe like 10 or 11, right? And then if they come out next week, some kind of luck around and beat Baltimore, right, they'll be right up to 3. That's just how the media and everybody grades the Cowboys every year, right? But I'm telling you, it's simple. It's just a simple. The best philosophy I have, not philosophy, but the best thought process I have with the Cowboys, man, is like the Cowboys are excellent checker players. They're really good checker players. But if you get into a chess matchup, they don't have the coaching staff and they don't have the mentality that's pushed down to them from the coaching staff to be able to sustain in games like that. They just don't. And that until that changes, right? And that's not going to change ever, right? This is the type of results you're going to get. And you see, like, today kind of had, like the game was kind of had the Saints kind of took it as it had a playoff kind of type of atmosphere to it. Saints took this game very serious. They came in with a game plan, and you did not make them alter their game plan whatsoever. Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. And once they can drop off of coverage and they'll give you the little 5 or 6 yard passes and they're not going to give you anything downfield. Yeah. These are the type of results that you get. Dak is going to try to squeeze the ball in downfield. He's going to throw a pick. That's what he's going to do. In order to alleviate that, right, you got to play good defense. You got to establish some sort of run game with whatever you got, right? And I keep talking about the rookie offensive linemen, right? They still haven't played a bad game. They haven't. They've played 2 good games, and they've played 2 good players across from them every time. On 2 of the sacks, right? Terrence Steele, the right tackle, was the one that got beat. Tyler Guyton didn't get beat. They not coming up the middle. Kuda Pabibi got that shit sewed up. You don't even have to worry about him. The only thing you might have to worry about him is he'll get an eligible man downfield on an attempted screen pass because he was motoring down the field trying to hurt somebody. And you have to appreciate that, right? You have to appreciate that, especially from the rookie. Like, I wish the whole team had that type of mentality. Maris Lufau, Overshown are on the defense right now. They're about to take over that defense from Micah Parsons. They're about to. They got great attitudes. They out there. They trying to win. They out there playing hard, right? Michael Parsons standing over there with his hands behind his back because he can't make no splash plays. He can't get involved. Get yourself involved, man. Get your ass in there and break something up. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what you're about to get paid $90 million to do. You want to be the highest paid player? It's highest paid. You want to make more money than Bosa. You want to make more money than TJ Watt. Start doing those type of things. Those dudes are excellent. Those dudes make plays. They come off ball. TJ Watt will come off ball, go back and grab a pick. He'll hit, he'll run out there, grab a running back, and then he'll get after the quarterback on third down when he knows it's time to run. Michael Parsons he gets caught up in the wash too much against mediocre teams. I'm not saying that the Saints are mediocre, but this is a game that you're supposed to win, and you didn't. You got beat. You got your ass whooped. That's about all I can do with this, man. I'm not a very happy, camper, as you can tell. This was exhausting, embarrassing, hard to watch. Thought things were different. I made an analogy about 7 or 8 years ago, and I still get messages on my phone from people that remember it. The Cowboys are like watching your dog play in your front yard. You got your kids, you got your significant other, you got, the whole family out in the front yard playing, and your dog runs across the street and there's a car coming, it's coming fast. And your dog makes it sometimes, but it's just like watching your dog get hit by a car over and over and over again. And it's tiresome. You get tired of it. Pretty soon you just become immune to it, right? You know the results. You know what's going to happen. I'm hoping that that's different this year, but this is not a good look. It's not a good look. You got a good team. You got a good young team. You got some guys that you're going to have to break in. You're going to have to get this running game situated some type of way. If you got to trade to go get somebody, if you got to drop a draft pick, something. I'll tell you this right now. Tua Tagovailoa is going to be out for some time. If it was up to anybody, within his circle, right? He'd probably be smart for him to retire. The head coach for the Miami Dolphins was the offensive coordinator when the San Francisco 49ers drafted Trey Lance. They got Jalen Wright sitting on the bench, a rookie running back that you should have drafted in the first place, right? Why don't you trade and go get Jalen Wright? Why don't you trade Trey Lance, get Jalen Wright? They got a quarterback that they can count on, sort of. He's about like Tua, right? You got a quarterback that you can count on for the future, right? He's young. He'll be around for a while. McDonald can teach him some things, right? And then, Tua can be a mentor for him, you know what I mean? Because he's going to be on the sidelines for a while. They don't have a quarterback right now. Why don't you trade for Jalen Wright and get a young running back in here that can do some things for you, right? Which is what you should have done in the draft. But you got rid of your fourth round pick for Trey Lance. So it's just like you drafted Jalen Wright in the fourth round. He's stuck in that running back room over there, right? They got 3 good running backs. A-Chain is your starter. He's your guy. Moses there. Jalen Wright, I think he's got like 3 carries on the season, right? You need a quarterback. The Dolphins need a quarterback. You need a running back. Jerry, get on the phone and make the call, man. Make this shit happen. The Trey Lance experiment is over. He is the 3rd quarterback on the roster. Hell, if you want to give him Cooper Rush, give him Cooper Rush. You got to have something in here. You got to. You got to have a running back. Something that somebody has some fear of, right? Jalen Wright, excellent runner, 4.3 40 guy. Get him in here. Get him in here. All right. I'm off my soapbox. Yeah. They got 3 starters in the backfield. You're absolutely right. Trade Trey Lance. Just trade him. Get one of them running backs. Why not? They need it. They need the quarterback. You need a running back. Shit just makes sense. Just do it. Wishful thinking. All right. So I'm gonna go sulk on the couch and watch the rest of these NFL games tonight. To next week, Tuesday, we'll do a preview of the Cowboys Ravens game. We'll do some injury report. We'll do some Cowboy news. Hopefully, we got some good news this week. Hopefully, Zach Martin is not. It's not serious with Zach Martin. CeeDee Lamb, he just took a blow. You know what I mean? Kind of probably knocked the wind out of him. He went on the sideline. He was on the sideline for one play. He came right back in the game. We'll talk about some injury news. Hopefully, we can get Jake Ferguson back, man. And my only hope for this next week is the Cowboys come in for the week, practice hard, come up with a good game plan, and keep the game close for 3 quarters. So that way in the 4th quarter, maybe you can pull off some magic, right? Keep the game close. You cannot get in games like this, like you did today. You can't get in those shootouts, right? You cannot do that. We'll have keys to victory. We'll have, big preview on Saturday. And then on Sunday, we'll do the post game again. I appreciate everybody that came in here and left comments, man. It makes it a lot of fun. You guys keep doing that. I look forward to seeing you guys on post-game shows. Thank you very much. If you haven't subscribed yet, like it, subscribe to it, man. I try to keep it as real as I possibly can without getting kicked off YouTube. There's a whole lot of things I want to say. I just can't say them because I'll get in trouble. But we're going to keep it real. Thank you, Sports T. I appreciate that. Thank you for the support. You guys have a great rest of your day. I'm going to go watch some football, give me some food, and try to sleep off this misery that I'm going through right now. All right. I'm going to talk to y'all next week. Tuesday, we'll be back on. All right. Have a good one, everybody. See y'all later. Peace.